Saint Germain. Invocation. Thou infinite, all-pervading presence. With thy mighty radiance surging forth throughout the atmosphere of earth, we give praise and thanks for the onrushing Christ power of love and wisdom, which with no uncertainty is raising the consciousness of mankind above the sordid selfishness of the activity of the outer self. We give praise and thanks that we have become conscious of thy mighty, active presence at all times, and that in the conscious recognition of thee, thou dost charge our minds and bodies with thy pure presence forever. I bring greetings from the radiant host to you all. The Discourse. From within the radiance of the great electronic belt I am projecting this today. From the heart of the golden city the twin rays come forth, upon which are the speech, the light, and the sound. The time has rapidly enfolded us when we must be more aware of the great electronic belts encompassing all creation from the Godhead to the individual. The etheric belt around the golden city is impenetrable, far more so than a wall of many feet of steel would be. So in a lesser degree may the individual, with sufficient comprehension of the active principle of the God Self, surround himself with an electronic belt or circle, which he may qualify in any manner he may choose, but woe be unto the individual who qualifies it destructively. If anyone should be foolish enough to do this, he would find this belt of electronic force closing in upon his own outer form, and it would be consumed, but those who with wisdom build and qualify it with God's mighty love and constructive power will find themselves moving in a world untouched by the ignorance of mankind. The cosmic period has arrived when those who have attained a certain degree of understanding must create, apply, and use this wondrous electronic circle. Every creation that is self-conscious action has this circle of pure electronic force about it naturally, but to a large degree its force is ungoverned, therefore dissipated. In consciously creating this mighty ring of pure electronic force, you stop all leaks in the generation of this limitless essence, and hold it in reserve for conscious use and direction. After a few months of this conscious creative activity of and within this electronic ring, one will need to be very careful in loosing or directing this force in any manner except by divine love. In the beginning of man's individualization, he was naturally surrounded by this magic circle, but as the consciousness was lowered more and more, rents were made in this great circle of force, causing leaks, as it were, until it has almost entirely disappeared. This, however, was not a conscious creation of the individual, but was a natural, enfolding circle. Now students of the light must go to work with no uncertainty and consciously create this electronic belt about themselves, visualizing it perfect, with no rents or breaks in its construction. Thus it will be possible to consciously reach within the electronic belt of the Godhead, and there receive limitless wisdom, love, light, and the application of simple laws by which all creative power is possible. While the student is admonished to look always, and never forget it, to his own God Self, which is the creator of his individualization, yet never has there been a single attainment in which there has not been given the assistance of those still in advance. There being but the one God, the one presence, and his all-powerful activity, then the one more advanced than the other is but more of the God Self in action. In this recognition you will understand why you can feel, I am here and I am there, for there is but the one God Self everywhere. When the student can once understand that the ascended host of masters are but the more advanced consciousness of himself, then he will begin to feel the unquestionable possibilities within his grasp. Whether he speaks to the Godhead direct, to one of the ascended masters of light, or to his own God Self, in reality it makes no difference, for all are one. Until one does reach this state of consciousness, it does make a difference, for the individual is almost certain to feel a division of the one self, which is not possible to be made except in the ignorance of the outer activity of the mind. When the student thinks of the outer expression, he should at all times be aware that it is but the outer activity of the one intelligence, guarding himself at all times against trying to divide in his own consciousness this one mighty God power centered in him. Again I must remind you that this limitless, mighty power of God cannot intrude its wondrous powers into your outer use, except by your invitation. There is only one kind of invitation that can reach it and loose it, and that is your feeling of deep devotion and love. When one has generated about himself this electronic belt or ring, there is no power that can penetrate it except divine love. It is only your consciousness of divine love that can penetrate within this great inner blazing belt of the Godhead, through which the Godhead sends back to you its great outpouring, mark you through his messengers, transcendent beings so far surpassing anything of your present conception that it is not possible in words to convey to you the majesty of the love, wisdom and power of these great ones. At this point let me again remind you that the student who will dare to do and be silent will find himself lifted into the transcendent radiance of this inmost sphere, then by experiencing and seeing will he comprehend this of which I have spoken. The soul who is strong enough to clothe itself in its armor of divine love and go forward will find no obstruction, For there is naught between your present consciousness and this mighty, transcendent inner sphere to obstruct the approach of divine love. When you have touched and seen within this inner circle, you will then understand how imperfect is the present expression of divine love. Once one becomes consciously aware of these great spheres to which he may reach, he will find himself fearlessly reaching deeper and deeper within the radiance of this mighty intelligent hub of the universe, from which all worlds, all creation have proceeded. There are among you strong, dauntless, fearless souls who will understand this and be able to use it with great blessing to themselves and others. There are those who will understand and see that the presence which beats each heart is God in action, that the activity sending the circulation through the body is God, that the essence charging forward to vitalize the outer form is God in action.